Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. I'd like to take a few minutes to go over some of the details involved in headstand pose or sirsasana. Headstand is known as the king of asanas in some traditions. It has a really long history in yoga. It has some benefits like keeping the upper body and shoulder girdle strong and stable. Also has some risks because our cervical vertebra is not really meant to carry our body weight. So let me just say now, if you have any kind of neck issues, you want to skip headstand. You can do forearm stand or dolphin instead. However, if your neck is healthy and you feel ready for it, then when we do headstand, we want to minimize that risk by taking a lot of weight on our forearm. In fact, there's one bone here called your ulna on the pinky finger edge side of your forearm. The more of this ulna bone we can press into the floor, the less weight we're going to take on our necks. So we really want to do that. Uh, Now, when we do headstand, the best way, I believe, is to create a U shape with your hands. So I'm not going to hold my head, but I'm not going to have the heels of my hands all the way together either. It's kind of in between. So I have this U shape with my hands. That's going to enable me to press more of this bone, even the wrist part, down to the floor. If you do it this way, it's really difficult to get all of this ulnar bone on the floor. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to have a U shape. I'm going to have the heels of my hands kind of on the back of my head. So imagine you're holding an egg. You don't want to crush the egg, but you want to support it enough so it doesn't fall. And I'm going to keep that kind of shape in my hands when I have the back of my head toward the heel of my hand and my wrist. All right, and again, I'm going to get as much of that bone down on the floor as possible. I'm even going to imagine trying to straighten my arms. I can't because the floor is there, but I'm trying to straighten my arms so I really take a lot of weight here, not so much weight on my head. So start. And by the way, have your elbows a little closer together than shoulder width to start, because once you put weight on your forearms, they're going to go out a little bit. So my elbows just a little bit closer than shoulder width. I'm going to interlace my fingers. I'm going to look at my hands, make sure I have that U shape in them. And I'm even going to try to press my little fingers away from my head. The more I can do that action, the more of this ulna bone I get on the floor. Again, even down by the wrist. So I'm going to bring the back of my head to the heels of my hands. The crown of my head, right in front of that little bony part there, is going to be on the floor. And even from here, I'm going to press my wrist down like I'm trying to straighten my arms. Now from here, I'm going to walk my toes in as close as I can toward my elbows. I'm going to keep pressing my wrist, that ulnar bone, down into the floor. And you'll notice when I do that, it keeps increasing the angle between my bicep and my forearm. And you'll probably even be able to see my shoulders moving away from my ears. Now, when I can't walk my feet in anymore, preferably I'm going to use the strength of my core to bring myself upside down by bending my knees. First, bringing my heels over my hips, then my knees over my hips, and finally press my feet up toward the ceiling. Now, from this point, I'm going to keep my legs active by pressing my feet up. I want to imagine I'm standing on the ceiling. At the same time, pressing the ulnar bone powerfully down into the floor. I've got a lot of weight on that whole ulnar bone, not so much weight on my head. I'll stay here and breathe, preferably for a minute or so. When I'm ready to come down, I'm not going to forget about my forearms. I'm going to keep pressing them down as I bend my knees again, bring my heels over my hips, and slowly bring my feet down. Afterward, feel free to either do child's pose or down dog pose. So I allow my cervical vertebra to decompress. Okay, so of course, if you're not sure about your balance, use the wall, go near a wall, so it will be there in case you do fall. And I know it's difficult to get your feet in that close. At the beginning stages, you may need to kind of swing one leg up. Just do that as carefully as possible. And don't forget about your forearms pressing down the whole time. In addition to the physical benefits of headstand, one of the biggest benefits really is the mental state it creates. It helps to create a state of consciousness where the mind stops moving, which really is a classical definition of yoga. So, hope you found this helpful. Enjoy, and I hope I get to see you soon.